Welcome and welcome back to the channel Envoys. Today we're going to be talking about Garren Rood and the build that I am rocking in Preludes 13. Now to open up the video, I did want to highlight a couple of massive changes that have come to Soulframe with hotfix 5 in Preludes 13. We have seen another massive decrease in virtue requirements for a lot of weapons. We have seen the release of the new Avex bow, which is a very large determining factor for a lot of my choices for today's build. We have seen the release of the Falk's sword. Now, both of these weapons drop from the Organ, and both of these weapons are very cool because they're Ode themed and meant to be the Envoy's own version of the Ode weapons. Now, the other massive change that I absolutely want to highlight is the changes to the virtue nodes on the packed tree. They now have 3 tiers instead of 4, and now give a lot more virtues compared to what they did before. I say a lot, but it's really only like 2 extra, but 2, believe me, is a lot. Before, they had 4 nodes, and each node gave 1 point as of Preludes 13. As of hotfix 5, there are 3 nodes, and they give a total of 6 virtue points each, which is massive and a change I'm very appreciative to DE of making. Now to get into the build itself, I have chosen primarily to use Varys' Assassin as my virtue prism, going with a Courage Grace split and using everything that a Courage Grace split takes the most advantage of. Main reason for that being I want to amp up my Stampede and amp up my Torment as much as I can at the same time, while still having decent Spirit for decent cooldown of all of our Arcanics. Now, the other option that I would recommend as an endgame player would be the Knight O Paladin. That would be if you want to have better cooldowns for all of your Arcanics, if you want to use different weapons than I am, different armor than I am, so on and so forth. Now, if you're a new player, I would recommend using either Iridis' Shaman, which if you started as Tetherin or Siren, you'll be able to acquire that from Avocot in the Alka's Children Enclave, or the Warrior of Mora. And if you did not start as a Tetherin, you'll be able to acquire that from King Jotar in the Kith of Kings Enclave. Now, Talismans will probably come as a surprise to no one that the only talisman I really recommend for this build is the Triune Talisman. If you do not have it, go to the Crypt of the Circade, look up how to do it. I'm not going to go full in depth here, but it is by far the best talisman in the game, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. Now, if you are a newer player, but you've recently gotten Garren Rood, and you really want to try out a Garren Rood build, what I recommend are talismans like Dire Skull or Synod's Bell Jar that still give you a bonus to each virtue at the bare minimum. And which one in particular you choose will, of course, be based off of what you maybe have or don't have. But if you have a few of these as options, I would recommend choosing whichever one gives you the most extra benefit to your chosen weapons. Now, that's talismans. Armor. If you're using the build exactly like I've chosen to, and you're running the Courage Grace split, Orendal's armor is by far the best option. Orendal's armor can be gotten through Alka's Children, can be gotten from, I believe, 2 and 3 star Tails. I do not recall if you can get it from Avocot himself. I'm pretty sure it's just from Tails. But it gives you by far the most total armor you can get on a Courage Grace split. Now, the Kith of Kings armor set, the Fire Kings set, also scales really well with Courage and Grace, but it's not quite as strong as Orendal's. So if you have that as an option, cool. An honorable mention to the Thaltide armor, but unfortunately the Thaltide armor is not currently available, as far as I know, within any of the drop tables after checking avocot.org. Now, if you are rocking a Courage Spirit split, your best options are going to be the Regents set, which you can get from the Silent Rose, or the Mendicant Kings set, which you can get from Mendicant King. Okay, so moving on, our weapons. The main thing I chose with this build is that I wanted to use Avex. And I realized that Avex scaling with Courage and Grace, I'm getting, you know, pretty good use, pretty good boost to my Stampede, pretty good boost to my Torment. And we're having really good scaling with Avex. Now, Avex, not even properly leveled, is very strong. It is on par with a leveled but not blessed Blitzel at just rank 10. It is a very, very, very strong weapon. It is very cool, very unique to bows, and is one of 2 Courage Grace bows. Now, I briefly mentioned Blitzel. Blitzel would be my other recommendation. It's pretty easy to get early on, and it, you know, it's good. Like, Blitzel's not bad. It's pretty good. You know, you're meeting the Grace requirement, so you're getting some good scaling, so on and so forth. Now, if you are rocking a bow, this is the loadout for totems and runes I recommend. For pretty much any build, any weapon, the totems that I recommend are always the same. You want anything that gives you increased smite chance over here. You want anything you can get that gives you extra armor on the top left. And you want extra attack speed or totems that share attack to other enemies on the bottom. And in general, the runes that I recommend are the ones that give you a huge increase to damage via like applying extra damage, like Alka's Breath, which gives you 175% arcanic damage on top of your base damage for 30 seconds. Now, for bows, the Torrent is really strong, so if you have the Torrent and you've already been doing a lot of Coda, definitely try it out, slot it on. It's very good, very strong, but by far I recommend Alka's Breath, as you're able to really nearly one-shot a lot of things with everything ramped up. Now, for my sidearm, I am using Garren with Flint Smoke. Anyone who's been keeping up with these build videos knows that I am a massive fan of Garren, massive fan of Flint Smoke. Flint Smoke is by far possibly the strongest thing in the game. Being able to go invis, go target to target, extending that regardless of the packs, the build, it's incredible. It's very, very strong. Now, if you are going Knight of Paladin, if you are going with the Courage Spirit split, for your primary weapon, you're going to want to look at polearms, which are very cool and scale very well for the most part with Courage and Grace. Or, in my opinion, put on a greatsword, go farm Mendicant King, get Purity, because Purity is extremely strong, very cool, and a lot of fun. Oh, now, of course, you can also use magics, and if you're going to go with the Knight of Paladin Courage Spirit split, my sidearm recommendations are going to be exclusively Bastard's Rest or Odiac, whichever one you like more, have already, and whatnot. Now, for our magics, I'm going to recommend just going with Arcstorm. Arcstorm I have found to just be the best. The hollowing is cool, but I think maybe needs a little work. I need to try it more myself. I haven't really seen the value of hollowing as much as I've seen the consistent value in Arcstorm, and it's hard to really compete with something that just gives you 100% more damage, quite literally doubling your damage for an amount of time. Now back to our pole arms. Before I forget, where is one? There we go, Vasp. For pole arms, I would recommend primarily just go with Torch Eternal. Split Bolt, if you have it, is really cool, but I do believe that is locked behind Koga. So I would primarily focus on getting Torch Eternal if you have no runes available for them already, and like pole arms or whatnot. Again, being able to just basically double your damage maxed out is beyond powerful in this game. And yeah, so I believe that covers weapons. And we've pretty much gotten to the end of the build. That's about it. And I would also like to just take another moment to really commend DE on the changes that they've tried out with Hotfix 5 and the way that they're really experimenting and trying and taking feedback and really trying the things that we recommend. I have no idea if anyone from DE has seen my feedback about the things like the pack tree simply needing more virtue points or not, but I'm very grateful that that is something they have implemented. I'm super happy with where the game is right now. Of course, it's not perfect. We have bugs, we have different issues, but the game is very rapidly getting more and more fleshed out. And I love it more and more with every update. Love it more and more the way I, like, even not having anything left to acquire, I just still want to play the game and just grind out and have a stockpile of resources or have a stockpile of fragments so that when we get more and more developed and have trading, I have things I can share with my friends or whatnot. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, in the description, check out my Twitch. We're going to be streaming quite a lot here in the future, hopefully. Playing Soulframe, playing Marathon, a little bit of Destiny 2 here and there. Feel free to follow any other socials I have linked as well. Please subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment down below with any thoughts on the build, thoughts on Soulframe in general, or whatnot. And thank you very much for watching, Envoys.